Hi, everyone. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to do our regular Q&A that I've been doing for weeks, over a year now. The only difference is this is the first one we're doing at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Usually it's 5 p.m., but I thought I'd make a little later for those who might not be able to make it after work at 5 p.m. So we push it back a little bit to 6 p.m. to accommodate more people. But we have an audience from across the world. So we have people at 2 a.m. and 2 p.m. every time watching us. So it's a great pleasure to come and speak with y'all. What we do is we get your questions here. If you're on TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, there's multiple YouTube pages, multiple Facebook pages. But we just take your questions and give general legal guidance. It's not individualized kind of stuff. You need to set up a private consultation for that. But I do offer pro bono free 15-minute video consultations for raffle winners. And how you do that is if you're watching the live show, you just like, subscribe where you're at, and you write consultation as a comment. And then my great assistant, Katrina, will name one person in every 10 minutes. So I'll have three of them who has the ability to schedule a consultation. I'll give guidance on it when you win. So just stay tuned, watch, like, subscribe, say consultation, and we'll get that raffle situation in. And before we start, I want to remind people if you're doing a marriage case, a marriage kind of green card or fiance case, and you're trying to figure out what's going on, the best place to start is to download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide, a free ebook I have. I wrote 40 plus pages. That's really going to help you out. It'll blow your mind that this is out there free. Just go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Again, that's marriageimmigrationlaw.com and download the free ebook, and you'll really enjoy it. I think you'll get a kick out of it. But with that, let's get it started. All right, so we have a lot of our regulars coming in. Paranoid Android says, I love you, JQK. Good vibes. Thank you as well. Thanks for coming every week. It's a pleasure to have your support. Jeffrey Dej Abudafar says, hi to you. Ali Khan says, hi there. My petition is taking forever. Yeah, that's that. I get a lot of communications about that regularly. Raining Cats and Dogs says, hi on TikTok. Hi to you too. But with regards to the delays and removal conditions as well, but we'll get to that in a second. A petition is typically a family petition when a family member is a green card holder or citizen applies for another family member, and those could take a long time sometimes. It could be fast, it could be slow. You should check the regular processing times on uscis.gov to see what they kind of say, but everything's delayed. So when it comes to removal of conditions, we had a question about that right now. Jordan asked, how long does the removal of conditions take to get approved to get a 10-year green card? And so on average, it takes between 6 months and 2 years for the I-751 removal of conditions to be approved. So that's a long gap period of time. Like, how is it that big? It just is. I have cases done after 6 months. I have cases done after 2 years. It's just an unfortunate situation where these cases are taking forever, especially the removal of conditions. And so in the meantime, a lot of times if my clients, if they're married to U.S. citizens, they just apply for U.S. citizenship, and pretty much altogether it gets done and they become citizens eventually. So this delay is really serious. I'm packed with work, but one of my goals is to really challenge the government and get support behind this, because it's really hard on people to be waiting for removal conditions to be approved. So with you, I hear you, what's going on. So any other questions or anything like that? All right, Raincast Dogs again. Hi, good to see you. Who else? Selena says hi. Selena is mad. A lot of regulars, a lot of new people. Thank you all for joining. We have a question from Shoop says, why does it take so long for I-751? Well, the reason why the removal of conditions for I-751 takes so long is because the government does not give it priority. Based on what they said, they give citizenship number one priority, citizenship cases, then I-130 petitions, and then last removal of conditions, I-751. Because they say the I-751, you can still live in the United States. You get an automatic extension that gives you travel permission back and forth. So in their opinion, they're like, well, you got what you need. You're a resident. Just relax, and we'll get to you when we get to you. That's literally what the official position is of the government on this. They've said it in the ombudsman's report that comes out multiple times. So, but we got to change that, because it's very disruptive when the I-751 takes this long. Some couples are not, in a good relationships, falling apart, but they stay together because of it. That's not healthy. Some people waiting 18 months plus, and after 18 months, they have to get a new extension. That's very difficult to get. Sometimes they want to get a home mortgage loan, and the bank will not accept that as proof of residency. And the list goes on. There's a lot of different stuff I've seen, troubles that people have with the I-751, but that's just the situation that we have. The best catch, Sharu asks, if I stay with a visa C or D, can I apply for a green card? Typically, if you enter with a C or D kind of status, C or D are usually crew members coming to work on like a plane or a boat or something like that. There is a specific part of the adjustment of status of the green card application statute in the United States. If you're applying for a green card in the US, that says you cannot apply for adjustment of status with C or D, with minor exceptions. So we have to see whether those minor exceptions apply to you. I mean, you can start the I-130 process, but you'll eventually need to go to the embassy interview. And if you have any violations or something like that, it becomes problematic. So you should really consult an immigration attorney. But most of the time, the C or D, you cannot adjust status in the US. You have to do consular processing. And if you overstay your C or D, that becomes an issue. So if you have this kind of stuff, definitely the way to go is to consult with an immigration attorney in private. But thank you for the question. Srinivas asks, what is the chance of getting a green card before September 30th for those whose final dates are current? It's not about chances. It's just it may or may not happen. So that's it. They don't even go thinking about chances, because anyone who's going to answer that is lying. So it's just either it's going to happen or it's not. Nick Moas, hi, thank you for the great videos. You're welcome. Is there a way to consult with you before hiring you for a marriage green card? Yeah, we have a paid consultation where I talk with you about your case. And then if you want to hire me after that, I could break down the cost and process then. But we do need a scheduled time for me to get to know you and your spouse or your fiance and figure out what's going on with the case, what issues exist or don't exist. But if you'd like to do that, just send me an email and we can schedule a time to do it. D asks, can I travel on advanced parole adjustment of status of marriage if I overstayed by 10 days when I filed? Okay, so this is general legal advice, not individual legal guidance, but generally a person can travel with advanced parole if they've overstayed. They've said this in a BI decision or something like that. So they have to go by that. And now some immigration lawyers will say no, and some immigration lawyers will not file for advanced parole if you have a green card case pending, if you've been out of status or something like that, because you're afraid they won't let you in. I've never seen that happen. I've talked with the Border Protection. They've said it's okay, but it's case-by-case basis. For example, if you had any arrest history or convictions or something like that, or some serious criminal history, no, I would not recommend you to travel. But being a clear history, I don't know your particular case, so I can't advise you, but I've never stopped my clients from traveling under these circumstances. Do I prefer they don't? Yeah, I would say if it's an emergency travel, because at the end of the day, if you leave, we don't know what's going to happen. They might shut down the borders. They'll pass a new COVID rule, this and that. So it's not worth going unless it's really a family or financial emergency that's requiring you to leave. I typically recommend my clients do not leave. But generally, again, not individual legal guidance, generally, even if you overstayed your visa, advanced parole is usable. You go and come back unless you have any criminal history or issues with your background. It's normally not a problem, but I can't say that specifically for your case, and some risk always exists. But thank you for your question. Lourdes asks, why is it taking over a year to be called for the N400 civics test? Because they're backed up. It's just, that's it. The whole system is pretty backed up. Muhammad asks, hi, marriage interview done, and it's been almost 40 days, no decision, no RFE. This is a bad sign. What should we expect? Thank you so much. Well, it's not a good sign necessarily. I mean, it could just be the officers just forgot about it or they're getting their stuff together. But typically 4 days is a long time. You can try writing them a letter to see what's going on. But I would need to see what happened at the interview, what kind of interaction you had with them. I've had people that say, oh, we had a great interview, and then they get denied. So your perception of it might be different from the way I would perceive it, but I want to get to know exactly what happened, what kind of questions were asked. So I can't tell you necessarily it's a bad sign. It's not good. You want it done. Typically, it doesn't take that long, but it's possible that everything's fine. They're just taking a while. So I just don't have enough information to give you guidance on that. But thank you for your question. Selena asks, if someone is using my last name to come to America, where should I report them, to whom? Because I called Homeland Security and the passport agency, nobody's helped me. I don't know. This is not something I handle. Try calling the FBI maybe. I don't know if someone's doing fraud, but that's unfortunate. Ivy says, hello to you too, Ivy. Hello, thanks for joining us from YouTube. About Golf Logs asks, I've been working until now and I filed my taxes every year since I started working. Should I bring my tax return to show the officer on my interview, adjustment through marriage? No, your tax return by itself is not needed. If you're married, you may have had to file married filing jointly, but your tax history is not something that matters for a green card case, a marriage green card case. Now, hopefully, I don't want to get too much into a lot of stuff. You should always consult an attorney in private because there's a lot more stuff we could talk about. because your case might be unique and different. So this is all general advice, general guidance, not advice individually. But overall, the applicant normally doesn't need to bring their tax returns, but whether you need to, I don't know. I need more information. Erie asks, how fast is an I-601 to be accepted? I wouldn't use the word fast in the same sentence as an I-601A. Right now, I don't do I-601As. My colleagues are saying it's taken over a year. Hopefully, it would be done less than 2 years, but it's a slow pace. Ivy asks, hey, thank you for the great videos. You're welcome. He asks, I want to ask about the B1, B2 visa. When will the embassy start the interviews? I don't know. It's like, when will it rain? I don't know. I can't answer that question. But thanks for asking. I do want to mention we have a raffle winner about golf vlogs. You're a winner. Thank you for watching and thank you for posting and joining. What I want you to do is take a screenshot of wherever you're watching this so I know that your profile is your profile and email it to me at info@jqqlaw.com. Again, that's info@jqqlaw.com, and I'll reply with a link to schedule a free 15-minute pro bono consultation to discuss the situations in your case. And thanks again. A quick reminder, we can't talk about timelines in general because as you've seen the answer I've given, I don't have answers for that. Nobody does for most cases. And if you're interested in a marriage green card case, if you're going to be filing for that, the first thing you should do is just to download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. All right, we'll take the next question. Ahmad asks, I frequently watch your videos and found them super helpful. Really appreciate your help. You're welcome, Ahmad. Thank you so much for connecting again. God bless you, and I'm glad to be of service. Nisha asks, once the K-1 is approved from USCIS, how long do you usually take for the interview? Again, this how long question depends on the interview. So the K-1 isn't approved by USCIS. The I-129F is. A K-1 is approved by the embassy. But when the interview happens, depends on whenever the embassy has time for you. Many of the embassies are not doing interviews for K-1, especially if you're in a travel ban country. So I have a K-1 right now. It's been pending for a year for an interview. It's not happening. Clients from Iran, they're not going to schedule them. For China, this was happening, and my client sued them and got their interviews. They might have opened it up now for China. But it's just this, I got to know what country you're in and your background to see if there are scheduling interviews for that country. But there's no fixed times on any of this stuff. Mo asks, for adjustment of status through marriage with a petitioner, a U.S. citizen who has been unemployed for over a year, can he use his rental income without providing mortgage info? No, if you're gonna, if he meets the guidelines, just $2,000, can we include the beneficiary's savings as an asset? Mo, that's a super detailed question I can't answer here. I need to see the tax returns for your petitioner that's filing for you. I need to see how much they're actually making and all this kind of stuff. So I would need to see the tax returns and the bank statements to be able to answer that question. It's just too detailed. So, email my office, schedule a consultation. We got a full consultation to discuss all that. But thanks for the question. 29 Super C1 regular says, good night, Attorney John Khosravi. Good evening to you. I emailed my company's immigration attorneys for your suggestions to expedite my case, but no response at all. I called today, but the case manager wasn't there, frustrated. Yeah, sometimes when you have someone else working on your case, another lawyer that works for the company and stuff, it's just not a priority. They have their own goals and stuff, and they're just going to do what they want to do. It's very hard to get them to keep things moving, unfortunately. That's what happens. That's one of the reasons I never did these kind of cases where I work for the employer and help someone because, there's two different interests here. I like working for the immigrant more than for the employer. Not to say it's, there's a need for that kind of work and it's justified, but I just like working directly with the immigrants. That's why I usually focus on marriage cases or self-investment, but I don't even do self-investment anymore. But, Tony Super C, thanks again for following up. Keep me posted on what happens. Probably email me in private so I can, it's a public place right here. But thanks for continuing to watch. Paranoid Andrew asks, when you're approved for an EB1 is typically, if it's the kind they have here, it's extraordinary ability. You're one of the top people in your field. There's other types of EB1 for professors and researchers and multinational executives and managers, but it's probably typically EB1 is extraordinary ability. So you think like Olympics or something like that. People will win gold medals. And they ask, when you're approved for the EB1 and allowed to file for adjustment of status while on an O1 or P1, when does non-immigrant status terminate? Upon approval of adjustment of status, I applied for EADAP, but afraid to depart the U.S. So I don't necessarily be afraid to leave the U.S. the non-immigrant status, it ends when either you get your green card or the natural I-94 period, the timeline you have on your O1 or P1 expires. So I mean, there's people on student visas and do a marriage case, for example, and the marriage case doesn't get approved, they can remain on that student visa technically. Now, whether USCIS could go undo it, stuff that's possible, but you remain on the underlying status if you have it until it expires. But if you leave on advanced parole and come back in with advanced parole, that invalidates the status, and you're in the United States, the parolee, with an adjustment case pending. So that's that. Muhammad asks, if I can follow up, does USCIS answer me if I submit a service request on my case? They may or may not, if they feel like it. So they're not consistent about it. Alicia asks, does U.S. processing times really matter? Does U.S. processing times really matter? I'm not sure what you mean by U.S. processing times. Like, yeah, it matters if you want your case faster. So I'm not sure what your question is, Alicia. Sorry. Shuli asks, I just received an email from the National Visa Center stating that my expedite request was approved. Wonderful. Congratulations. So hopefully it all goes fast. How long should I wait for an interview? I don't know how long you're going to wait, but they're going to try and make it faster. It depends on the embassy. But you get all your paperwork together as soon as possible. Ali Sheikh follows up. Can my green card holding wife apply for a B1, B2 visa while the I-130 is pending? If your wife is an LPR resident, why would they file for a tourist visa? I think you mean like, can the foreign spouse apply for a B1, B2 visa? I've done a lot of videos on this. You're watching on YouTube. Check out the history on the JQK Law clips page. We have clips on this too. But it is possible to apply for one, whether the embassy is actually going to approve a B1, B2, which is a tourist visa, while you have a U.S. spouse, U.S. resident spouse, and an I-130 pending. That's going to be up to the embassy and how much they trust that you're only coming to the United States temporarily, not with the intent to stay here, but we'll go back with consular processing. So it depends on the embassy. I'm not optimistic, but you'd always give it a shot, see what happens. 29 Super C follows up. I saw today that according to the August 2021 NBC backlog report, it has lessened somewhat to 513,000 versus 530,000 in July backlog. Well, that's great. Good news. I didn't see it. The National Visa Center has a huge backlog of cases that are supposed to go through the embassy interview. Unfortunately, that number has risen to 500,000 plus. But as 29 Super C is telling me, they said last month it was 532,000 cases. Now it's 513,000 cases. So instead of growing, it's very slightly coming down. Hey, anything in that direction is good for me, but hopefully it goes by much faster. 500,000 is a lot. Usually there's like 50,000. So it's like 10 times the amount of usual. And that's why all these questions about when my embassy interview is going to happen are coming. There's 500,000 cases, 500,000 cases stuck. So when is your case going to come? It's impossible for me to answer that kind of stuff. But thank you for that statistic, 29 Super C. I appreciate it. Muwaka says, do you know the Pakistan embassy will call for an interview at this time interview? I don't know. You should contact the embassy in Pakistan and ask them what their processing is right now. Tech Solution asks, can I get married in the United States while they're on a tourist visa or the visa waiver program? Can I stay there after marriage? Well, there's a lot to talk about. You should download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. For this question, it depends on what your intent was when you came, what your background is, what the petitioner's financial background is, if you have any arrest history, your criminal history, if the petitioner, your U.S. person you're married to, is a citizen or a green card holder. There's just a lot going on in Tech Solutions. So this is something, first download the ebook, but then schedule a private consultation. We talk about it. There's too many variables for me to be able to answer that here. Maybe possible. A lot of people do it like this, but I would need to see what's going on first. Jeffrey asks, can my I-130 be approved when my wife is a green card holder? I mean, if your wife's a green card holder and they apply for I-130 for you, yeah, then it could be approved. I mean, I don't get what the base of the question is. But I do want to announce that we have a raffle winner. Let me see something. Justice has marriage, petition has been employment. Okay, so again, another person. Okay, so we're going to announce the raffle winner in a few moments, but I'll take another question really quick. Serena asks, I received my EAD card, my work permit card. It has no fingerprints available, though I gave the fingerprints. Should I worry about it? No, Sri. What happens is sometimes I've seen this on employment, even on the green card and on the EAD's work permit, even though you gave your fingerprints, on the part on the card that would have your fingerprint, like a copy of it, it just says no fingerprints available. I've never seen that be an issue. It is weird that they say that. I'm not sure what's going on behind the scenes on that happens, but fortunately, I never seen it be a problem, so you don't have to worry about that. Mila Gross asks, "Hi, I applied for citizenship on 2020, and in 2020, last 7 months, or actually last year. They sent me a notice that they're working on my case. Yeah, these cases take a while, so I don't know what's exactly happened with your case, but it's good that you have a receipt number. Other than that, you usually have to wait. If it goes, 2022 or something like that, then you should kind of get into it and see what's going on, to see if it's a problem that you got to worry about. But I do want to announce our raffle winner, a tech solution. You are a raffle winner. Just take a screenshot wherever you're watching this, so I can see that it's your screen name, username, and then email me at info@jqqlaw.com, and we'll schedule a free 15-minute video consultation. And so for those who just tuned in, if you want to play, you got one more raffle coming up in 10 minutes. Just like, subscribe, and write consultation wherever you're watching this. And my wonderful assistant, Katrina, will name a random person that picked it, and we'll announce it here, so you can have a free 15-minute video consultation privately to talk about your case. And as a reminder, if you are thinking about a marriage or fiance case, download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. All right, we'll take the next question. Okay, Elaine says, "Good evening." Thank you, Elaine. Very good to see you too. Rafael asks, "I hope I'm the raffle winner." We'll see. One more try, Rafaela. We'll give it another 10 minutes or so. We have a question here from Milagros, follows up, that asks, "Hi, I applied for my citizenship 2020. Say notice, but now my residence card is expired. I'm very concerned." That itself is nothing to be concerned about. Now, if you need proof for work, or for travel or something like that, you're gonna have to file a Form I-90 probably, depending on when you filed the citizenship application, relative to how much time was on your green card and how your local office deals with it. But you could potentially get a temporary green card stamp, if it's appropriate, if you fall within the parameters, or just do an I-90, a green card renewal in the meantime. And once you do that, you get an automatic 1-year extension that holds you over. It's not something to be concerned about. So far, everything seems pretty typical. So I wouldn't worry about it, but I'd need to review your individual case first to see what's going on. Now, the timelines are a huge mess. Now, I have marriage cases getting done in 3 months. I have citizenship cases getting done in 3 months. I've had I-130 petitions get done in 3 months. So that's great, but at the same time, all those case types, I've had them take a year and a half, 2 years. So it's not something to worry about. It is worrisome that the government is just doing this. It's kind of ridiculous that they're taking this much time to do something like that. So that's something really has to be challenged, and hopefully this administration will get to it. But on a personal, individually, most of the time, it's not about you, it's more about them. And that's just a situation we have. Depending on the case, sometimes we could just push it and try to get an expedite request or something through, or complain so much. But I have cases once in a while. We do everything. We just spend hours and hours complaining and contacting this person and contacting that person. And then, just nothing happens. So that's the name of the game, is waiting. And hopefully, USCIS will hire more, get some funding, and to just be more open to making better systems, so that this all goes a little faster, because it does take a long time. Now, one of the worst places that takes a long time is with the student visas when you are in the U.S. on some other status. So, for example, you're here on a tourist visa, you decide to go to school here, and you have to change of status from a B2, normally a B2 tourist visa, to an F1 student visa. And that process could take 6 months, a year, for the transfer to be approved by USCIS. And by that time, the school semester came and went. And that creates a lot of issues, because you have to get approved close to the time when school starts. And one thing USCIS required up until a week or two ago, which a lot of people didn't know about, is while the student visa change of status case is pending, every 6 months you have to keep paying and filing new tourist visa extensions to hold you over, which is crazy. But they took away that rule. Still not clear how they're going to process and everything, but it's a big mess, very big mess. So that's the thing. That's the way it goes. Gaza asks, "I did a K1 visa, but it was more than 2 years and 2 months ago since I last see my fiance. So USA sent me an RFE. Can I still get approved?" No, you're going to get denied. When you submit for I-129F, you must have seen the fiance within the last 2 years. If you filed it and it's been more than 2 years, that's a denial. So you're going to have to refile it. You go see each other first and refile. And this is the kind of thing, people ask me, do I need to have an immigration attorney You don't have to, but this is just such a basic mistake that you just wasted so much time and so much money at this point, where I could just told you in a consultation that no, that's not the thing to do. Or you could have read it in my ebook, marriageimmigrationlaw.com, download the marriage green card guide, and not have to deal with something like this and waste it and be separated from your fiance for so long. So if when you file the case, it was more than 2 years, unless you're doing a waiver request, an exemption from the 2-year meeting requirement, because fiance visas have a rule that says before you apply for a fiance visa, if you're a U.S. citizen, you have to have seen your fiance at least once physically in the last 2 years. And there's exemptions for it. Some people have religious reasons where they can't see the person. There might be some other extreme circumstances. So unless you can prove some sort of really extreme circumstance, it's not going to happen. And you should go see each other and refile. Your title name is Gaza 1415. I'm assuming maybe if they're in Palestine or in the Palestinian territory, it's going to be really hard to travel. It is. So I don't know how you're going to deal with that. Even if the I-129F is approved, having your fiance get to the embassy in Jerusalem to do the interview is going to be a big headache. So you have a lot of hurdles in front of you, but that's the situation. Next question, 29 Super C follows up. Do you think budget reconciliation passed in the House and Senate will make cases go by faster despite the pandemic? So in Congress, they're maybe passing some immigration rules. I don't think they're probably going to do anything. Probably nothing's going to get passed for immigration portion of it. And if it does, it's not something that can make it go faster. There's a backlog and there's bureaucracy, so I don't think it's going to do anything now. Next question, Sandeep asks, hi, so I'm still waiting for my I-485 results. Yeah, it's pending. I mean, all my cases I filed in October when the visa bulletin jumped forward, and a lot of Indian and Chinese cases, they're still pending. They haven't been approved. I have one case I filed actually where they sent a notice that said, mail us your medical checkup. And so that's a good sign that maybe that one case is moving forward, but it's ridiculous. They don't even have their EADs. They have October filings for these employment-based cases, still no employment authorization documents, work permits, or advanced parole since last October. Right now, I'll get started, add 2-3 months there. I mean, this is ridiculous. This case should be done. These people waited for 10 years for this point. And so very, very frustrating, very frustrating. People's lives get really disrupted. Sorry, Sandy, but thanks for your question. Tanya asks, hi, John. I got documents already qualified in March 2020, F2B category Jamaica. I haven't heard anything. I'm very concerned. Contact the NBC, contact the NBC, the National Visa Center, maybe the embassy itself. One of my colleagues deals with a lot of athletes, and they were dealing with some athletes from Jamaica, and they were able to get their green cards recently. So the embassy was moving forward in Jamaica. So that's what they were telling me a month ago when I was talking to them. So maybe contact the National Visa Center and ask, hey, is this everything okay? And then maybe contact U.S. Embassy Jamaica, let them know, because F2B, I don't want a person to age out or have some problems. F2B is not going to age out, but I just don't want to see that. March 2020, that's a year and a half. That's a long wait. Mexican cases are getting interviews now. Mexico has the biggest backlog. So yeah, Tanya, I'm sorry to hear that. Just try contacting everyone you can to see what's possible. Gaza 1451 said, I couldn't travel because of COVID. This is the K1 question. Unfortunately, they won't accept that. I don't think they will. I haven't done it yet, but I don't think they'll accept that because you were laid off from your job. And it's a terrible situation. I had a lot of hurdles and difficulties that popped ahead of you. But you could give it a shot, but I don't think USCIS would accept it. I could be wrong. My recommendation would normally be to go see each other and redo it. But I need to know your whole case, and then you make a decision whether it's extreme enough. If you like, we'll name you as our last raffle winner, Gaza 1451. Just send me a screenshot of where you're watching this, and so I can see your screen name. It's you. Email it to me at info@jqqlaw.com, and we'll have a 15-minute chat to see what's going on with that. Well, thanks for watching. You're welcome, Tanya, as well. And we'll take one or two more stuff. Mo asks, can my husband's last name on the I-130 and I-485, even though I haven't changed my name with Social Security because my current visa expired, and okay, Mo, your question is kind of running on. If you legally change your name to your husband's name, you could use it. If the state that you live in recognizes that you use their name, then you could use it. But I'd have to see what's going on in your case. There's just too much going on. It's too case specific where I can't answer you here, unfortunately. We have a question of Paranoid Android. One of my colleagues received their green card first, then the EAD a day later. It only took 3 months after the I-485 was accepted. Then others take years. Ridiculous. It is. And that's why when people ask me how long these cases take, it's like they approve the same exact case, one 3 months, one takes a year. Why? Well, some officer gets it, that's fast, one's slow. There's no rhyme or reason. And so that's why people will get. That's why I tell people, don't look at these timelines USI says, and just let it go, because there's no logic to how the timelines for these cases work. I've been doing this for 10 plus years. In addition to hundreds of thousand cases that I've done, I teach this stuff and I have courses and I have a magazine for immigration lawyers. I talk to thousands of lawyers about this constantly, and there's just no rhyme or reason. There's no consistency. There's no logic. It's just bureaucracy. So I understand that sometimes if delays getting too much, you want to push it. Some people are doing lawsuits. You do want to kind of be on top of it, and that's what we do. We're a lawyer on the case. But I have like one case right now. I filed 5 cases on the same day, 5 marriage cases. 4 of them got approved within a year, and this other one's, we filed in February 2020. Now it's August 2021. Doing rough math, 8 plus 11 or something. That's a long time. 8 plus 11, I think that's what I said. 19 months. That's way, way too long for this kind of case. And they're not saying anything. They're saying it is normal processing time. But client's very frustrated. But there's not much we can do, about moving it forward. But it's a big problem. So I'll take 1 or 2 more. I'll take 29 Super C and about Go Vlogs, and we'll go. So 29 Super C asks, thanks for answering my question. Attorney Khosravi, have a good night. Good to be safe and healthy. You too. God bless you. 29 Super C. Thanks again. And about Golf Vlog says, I don't have vaccination record for I-693, so I have to take all the vaccines that USA is required again. You do. So Form I-693 is if you're filing for adjustment of status, a green card in the United States, and there's part of it is getting vaccines. And if you don't have your vaccine records, unfortunately, you'll have to do most of them again. There's ones like the flu shot. If you're in summer, you do it right now. You don't need to get it, but in the winter, you do. But yeah, there's a requirement for the vaccines if you can. So sorry about that. About Golf Vlogs, you'll have to do it again. Thank you everyone for watching. We had a good bunch, a lot of good questions. I'll be back again next week, 6 p.m. Pacific, to take these, general educational kind of stuff questions live on TikTok, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and this and that. And I have a page where I take clips of all the questions I answer. Here's hundreds of them now. JQK Clips, the YouTube page, JQK Law Clips. Check that out, or the Instagram page for JK Law. Actually, I put copies of my approval notices. If you're wondering general estimates of timelines, my approval notices are there, along with a lot of videos and a lot of up-to-date information. Check it out at instagram.com/JQK Law. And with that, God bless everyone. Be safe. I'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.